Hello, beautiful, beautiful ladies. This is Katie. I'm your dating and relationship coach, and I especially help smart, attractive, and successful women attract and keep high quality men. And this is a passion of mine. I love talking about dating, relationships, love, and just helping people have their dream relationship and their dream life by taking care of this piece. And relationships is at the heart of everything. So if you have everything else going for you but this piece, you need to get it handled, and that's what I'm here to help you with, okay? So today's video, I'm super excited to do this video, and it's talking about how to overcome your trust issues and insecurities, especially in a relationship, okay? I remember in my 20s, I had relationships back to back. Like literally I had straight relationships from my teens to my late 20s, so that was like a good 12 years. I was constantly in relationships. I didn't have a break. And I remember, even though I felt very secure in those relationships, I thought I was really confident in them and I was secure, there was still many times where I felt insecure and I acted insecure, and I blamed the guy for it. And if I was really honest, 9 times out of 10, the issues that I had, that we had in my relationship, came from me making it an issue. Okay, so which is really fascinating, right? As soon as I realized it was me, coming from me, they stopped. So it's really interesting now, the place I'm at now, like that just hardly ever comes up anymore. Like I just don't feel insecure. I hardly ever feel insecure. It's just not an issue. Like I don't think about it. It's just not a problem. So I think that this is really, it's really important I talk about this in this video and really help women overcome their own insecurities and their trust issues, because I think it would help a lot of you, right? It will just help so many of you in your relationships if this is no longer an issue. One of the first things, I think when we talk about overcoming trust issues or insecurities, it's usually we want to stop acting insecure because it's causing issues in our relationship, and we want to also stop feeling insecure. So it's the feeling piece and the action piece that we want to stop. A lot of women, I'd say most women, if not all women, like a lot of women, including me, assumes that men are partially responsible for how we feel. Okay? What are we taught? We're taught that a man in a good, healthy, happy relationship should make us happy. And we should make him happy, right? There should be mutual making each other happy. And that means if a man is responsible for making us happy, he's also responsible when we are not happy. Okay? Therefore, if we're having trust issues or insecurities, that means he's also responsible for that. Right? Can you see that? Now, he may not take full credit, right? We may be like, okay, it's not all his fault. It's partially him, it's partially us. If you want to be like diplomatic and more mature about it, you would say it's partially him, it's partially me. And in fact, a lot of relationship counseling is about that. It's taking 50-50 responsibilities, partly him, partly you. And I don't teach it that way because from experience, I haven't found that to be terribly helpful. And in fact, it creates its own issues. Because if it's 50% him, 50% you, then it's like, which 50% is it? Is it him? Is it you? If it's both, it's like, when is it him? When is it you? And can we even come to an agreement to which 50-50 it is, right? That opens up a whole other can of worms, trying to come to that kind of agreement. So it can kind of open more issues, open more problems that I think it solves. So that's my problem with that mentality. How I like to teach it is you are solely responsible. Okay, you're solely responsible, because just think about it. The issue is a feeling you're having in your body, that insecure feeling, and that means if you solved it, only you would benefit. He's not going to benefit from that, right? You would benefit by not feeling insecure, and you would benefit by not acting insecure. So, he wouldn't benefit from that at all. It's all you. You're taking the benefit, which means you should take all the credit, which means you should take 100% of the responsibility. So the other reason I think you should take 100% responsibility is that men can't give you a feeling. Okay, that's actually not how it works. Our feelings always come from our thoughts. Our thoughts, okay? It's not him, it's not a man's words, it's not a man's actions or inactions or reactions that's giving you a feeling inside your body. It's just the meaning you're attaching to his actions and his words and his inactions, okay? Okay, so a man in and of itself is neutral. Okay, what? I know. It's a bit trippy. It's neutral without a woman's judging him and attaching meaning to his actions. Okay, now that piece of it may take you a little while to wrap your head around. It took me quite a while to wrap my head around, okay, that a man in and of itself is neutral. Doesn't matter what he does or what he says. There is no feeling attached to that unless you attach a meaning to that. So here's an example. A man walks through a door. Did that make you feel anything? Probably not, because you don't know what the context of that story is, right? However, if I said, what if it was your boyfriend or your husband walking through the front door with his bags packed and he just told you he wanted to break up or get a divorce? You're probably gonna have an emotional reaction at that point, okay? Like, the fact is, still a man walking through a door, but because there's more context, there is who the man is, what he means to you, the history, what he means by walking through the door, what that means in that context, right? That is what's giving you the emotional reaction. So the story around the action of that man's words or actions or inactions is what is giving you the feeling, is what is creating the feeling. And guess where the story comes from? Your brain, your thoughts, okay? He's not creating the story. You're creating the story in your own head, in your own brain. And that is where your feelings are coming from. Take a minute to let that sink in, because that piece of it is everything. If you don't get any rest of this video, like, it won't matter, because you just need to get this bit, get this portion, that a man and his actions is absolutely neutral without the meaning that you attach to it. And the meaning comes from your brain and your thoughts, and the thoughts are what's creating the feelings, the feeling of insecurity. And once you have the feeling of insecurity, that's what is making you act insecure, okay? So as a recap, our thoughts create our feelings, and then our feelings are what's driving our actions. Wouldn't it be useful then to know what you're thinking? Yeah. How we're going to find out what you're thinking is, here's what we're going to do. Okay, step number 1. First, you need to catch yourself in the middle of the action. When you're acting insecure, you need to be aware that you're acting insecure, right? This piece, it took me a long time to figure this out. When I was in relationships back to back in my 20s, I was just reacting to stuff. I was just reacting to my environment, and I wasn't self-aware. So I probably ran through that pattern like over 100 times. Probably, honestly, it was probably like 500 times. Like, I don't know. You know, if you count the entire like 12 years I was in relationships, probably like 500 times, right? I never thought, you know, I mean, at some point, probably like the 499th time I did it, at some point I slowed myself down long enough to ask myself, okay, I'm doing an insecure action here. I've done this before. What am I feeling? Usually the feeling is going to be similar. Okay, I felt this feeling before. What's the feeling? That's the second question to ask yourself. Once you catch yourself in the action of acting insecure, you want to ask yourself, okay, what am I feeling? What's the feeling that is fueling this action? Right? Ask yourself that question, and then next, you have to ask yourself, what am I thinking in this moment? So in order to capture or answer these 3 questions, you have to slow it down. And I don't think you need to repeat this pattern 500 times like I did to reach this point. You can catch it a lot earlier, as long as you're committed to discovering the truth and what you're thinking. If you're committed to the process, if you know how important it is to find the root cause of your issues and really want to solve it and change it, then you will put in the work. Because the truth is, it will require some work. It's going to require effort, right? Your brain doesn't really want to do this. It wants to run on autopilot and keep reacting to the environment because it's the easiest thing to do. It's almost effortless, right? When we just react, blame him, react, blame him, right? So it will require some effort to slow that down and ask yourself these 3 questions and really dig deeper into what you are thinking. Provided you have taken the time and you asked yourself and you did some journaling on it and you figured out what you were thinking to create the feelings and then to act insecure, next you want to look at your thoughts and ask yourself, okay, where am I drawing my self-confidence from? Okay, because if you're feeling insecure, that means you're trying to draw your security, your confidence from somewhere else, from something else, right? And your thoughts will reveal this to you. It may be, you need a man to agree with you, to make you, to reassure you. You need him to do things for you. You need to have some kind of influence over him, right? A man needs to do X, Y, Z to make you feel secure. That's where you're drawing your self-confidence from right now. It may not be him. It may be from work, maybe from a certain performance, achieving a certain thing. It may be from being better than other people. So if you have a tendency to be jealous of other women or like to compare yourself to other women, it's probably you're drawing your confidence from being better than them and betting that they're worse than you, or they're not as pretty as you, or no, they're not as capable as you, and that's how you feel good about yourself. That's where you draw your self-confidence from. Maybe it's that. So your thoughts will reveal where you draw your self-confidence from right now. And the best thing is, if you find that you're drawing your self-confidence from external factors, this is probably why you feel like you always need to control the outcome and you're always on edge about it, because external sources, it's rocky, right? It's movable, it's always changing. So of course, sometimes we will feel confident when things are going well, and our criteria is being met. But then if we're not, that probably means, he's pulling away, that woman's better than us. At least it's our thinking, right? It's always our thinking. So we're thinking he's pulling away. We're thinking that woman's better than us. We're thinking we're not doing as well at work. So all of those thoughts are what's making us feel insecure. Really, really important to know that, okay? Because clearly, logically, we can see how there's a problem there already. There's a flaw to this logic of thinking, right? So that's number 2, understanding where you're drawing your self-confidence from. And then step number 3 is just through doing step number 1 and 2, you're already doing number 3. But number 3 is you need to start deliberately developing a relationship with yourself by understanding how you're thinking, what you're thinking, and then choosing more deliberate thoughts that will make you feel good instead of make you feel bad, right? So for example, if you discover you have a thought like, I am unwanted when a man chooses his friends over me. Okay? If that's a thought, and you can see clearly you're trying to derive your sense of confidence and your self-esteem from him doing something, you can see how flawed that logic is. Now you can ask yourself, just question that thought a little bit and ask yourself, okay, why am I choosing to believe this thought? Why am I choosing to believe I'm unwanted? Okay, because that's where your brain's going. So really question that, because is it really true? Like when a man chooses his friends over you, does that really mean he doesn't want you and you're like less than somehow? Like really think about that. Look at all the evidence. 9 times out of 10, you'll see that that logic is flawed, because if a man is with you, he tells you he loves you, he's committed to you, and one night he just chose his friends over you, it clearly doesn't mean he doesn't want you. It's silly. Silly logic, right? So just by looking at that, you can see, okay, this is clearly not true. I don't have to believe this thought. Now, and notice how I phrase this question, why am I choosing to believe this thought? Which means the power is in your hands now to change it. You don't have to believe this thought. You can believe a different thought. There's lots of other options to choose from. There's all other things you can choose to think. Okay, so next time you might be like, okay, I don't want to choose to think this way. I want to think, I'm going to make myself feel wanted. I'm going to devote time to myself tonight. Okay, this is an opportunity to be with myself, right? Maybe that's a better thought that'll make you feel good instead of I'm unwanted, right? I'm going to want myself instead. Okay, so by doing this, by choosing a deliberate thought that makes you feel good and that actually serves you, you're starting to build that relationship with yourself. But remember, the first step is always self-awareness. If you don't slow your actions down enough for you to even analyze your thoughts, to look at what you're thinking that's creating your feelings, then you're not going to give yourself a chance to think deliberately. And most of us are running our life unconsciously. We're just reacting. We're not sure why we're doing what we're doing or why we're feeling what we're feeling, and we think that life just happens to us. And the reason we think that way is because we're not aware of our thoughts. It's unconscious. So doing these 3 steps will reveal your thinking to you, will help you understand why, the real cause of your feelings and your actions, and then gives you the power, the soul power, to change it. Think better, more empowering thoughts about yourself and start to develop that relationship. Because true confidence, self-confidence, always comes from your mind. It's what you choose to believe about yourself. It's your opinion of yourself, okay? It's what you want to believe about yourself that makes you feel good, right? Choosing thoughts that literally generates confidence within. And it requires nothing from anyone else. Absolutely nothing. And that's the beautiful thing about this. And I love it. So this is why I was able to completely drop my stories in my past about feeling insecure. Like I just hardly ever happens. Never happens, because I know anytime I do feel insecure, it's all me. Like I have 100% control over that, and then I can just change it on the fly. By simply being self-aware, once you understand why you're feeling what you're feeling, where they're coming from, you can just stop reacting. The reacting is because you don't understand it's coming from your thoughts. You think it's him. You think it's external. So once you understand this piece and you have self-awareness, you will naturally stop. Okay, just give yourself enough pause that you can go away, process your thoughts and feelings on your own, become secure again, or at least stop feeling insecure. And then once you stop feeling insecure, then you will naturally not act insecure. And one more thing before I go is I want to talk a little bit about self-worth. So self-worth is directly tied into self-confidence, self-esteem, and all of this. The truth is your self-worth is fixed and set from birth. So the minute you were born, you had self-worth, and that's end of story. Like, you cannot negotiate with that. You cannot change that in any way. And like, nothing you do, no mistakes you make can change your self-worth, and you also can't increase your self-worth. Like, no one has better self-worth than you, no one's better than you, no one's worse than you, less than you. It's just fixed, okay? And we just forget this, right? We forget, and we just develop just this terrible opinion of ourselves, and we just beat ourselves up, and we think that we need to achieve X, Y, Z to feel good about ourselves, and it's just all crap. It's just not true, okay? It's just what you want to believe about yourself. So I want you to really pay attention to that and just be aware of that. If you would like to take this work deeper and work with me one-on-one, then you may want to check out katiecoach.com. This is the kind of stuff I do all day, every day. I love helping women feel good about themselves, empower themselves to, master dating, master communications, really attract and keep high quality men, and to have the dream relationship that they want and that they deserve. This is the stuff that I will walk you through personally. I will guide you through it. I will be there for you, like your biggest cheerleader. So if that sounds like something you want to do, you want to delve into, then just go to katiecoach.com. I also have a webinar, a free webinar you can take that will teach you how to get men, high quality men, to commit. There's also a link in the description section below. And if you like this video, please like me, leave me some comments below, and I will be back with another video next week. I'll see you real soon. Bye, girls.